what's up guys, it's Amir Gaddy Trades. I'm here with a heavily requested video of how I determine bias with high probability using ICT concepts. Bias is a very important part of my model. I think it should be a part of everyone's model if they're a day trader. And I'm going to cover three things in this video. The first one being what is bias and how to determine it with high probability. The second thing is common mistakes people make with bias. Same mistakes that I've made, same mistakes people are probably making every single day when they're determining bias and using their bias to get high quality trades. And the final thing is I'm going to give you some examples of me determining bias throughout this week. If you follow my live streams, you know I read price pretty accurately throughout every single trading day, and bias is a big part of that. So let's get straight to it. Okay, so to start, what is bias? Bias is simply determining which direction the candle you are trading is likely to go in. So if you're a day trader, you want to look at daily bias. So which direction is the daily candle likely to trade in? This will help you form high probability trades, because if you're trading in the direction of the daily expansion, then you're going to have high quality setups. You'll have a greater chance of your trade playing out because you're trading with order flow. That being said, the weekly candle also matters, because if the weekly candle is going to expand higher, you want to be taking your day trades higher, taking longs, because the weekly candle is expanding that way. So the weekly chart also matters. All the higher time frame charts matter, but the idea is to figure out in that specific day or trading session which way the candle is going to form, which way price is going to expand. So to do this, you have to determine one of these four things. So you need to understand that first, price can only move for two reasons. The first reason is to fill an imbalance. The second reason is to grab liquidity, right? Internal or external range liquidity are the only things price can reach for. You should know this if you trade ICT. If you're new, then, well, congratulations, you just figured it out. So understanding this will lead you to this conclusion that price can only do four things. We're either going to move higher to fill an imbalance, or we're going to move higher to take out a high. If it's not moving higher for an imbalance or a high, then price is not moving higher. If price is going to move lower, it's going to do so either to fill an imbalance or take out a low. So in other words, we're going to go higher for an imbalance or liquidity, or we're going to go lower for an imbalance to liquidity. So if you want to determine bias for the daily candle, you must determine which of the four is price likely to do on the higher time frame. That's all you need to do. It's one of these four scenarios. You got to figure out which one is most likely to occur, because you're never going to be 100% right. You can be very accurate with bias, and trading it is a whole other concept, but reading price is what our objective is with this video. So let's move on. Okay, so these are my personal favorite ways to determine bias using ICT concepts. So first one being premium and discount. This is something everyone should implement in their trading, because if you're taking longs in a premium and shorts in a discount, you're going to have lower probability trades. The second thing is higher time frame, PD arrays, or key levels. Mostly I just look at highs and lows and imbalances, as we discussed in the previous slide. Price can only do one of these four things, so obviously you want to be looking for highs and lows and imbalances. I look at daily closures, so this also kind of follows liquidity sweeps versus displacement on the higher time frame. I'll look at weekly profiles and also higher time frame SMT divergence. I also look at seasonal tendencies, but for me it's very soft. I'm more than comfortable trading against a seasonal tendency, but when I do see it in favor, then I know that's going to be a little bit increase the probability of a specific trade playing out. So these are the concepts. I'm not going to cover every single one of these concepts, but these are the concepts I use to determine my bias with high probability. I like to keep it simple. So premium and discounts always in the back of my mind, and mostly I'll just look at highs and lows and balances, daily closures, and that'll help me form the weekly profile. And then divergence can also help you confirm that weekly profile. So with that being said, let's go over some examples. Okay, so we're going to go over some examples of daily bias. We're going to go over this week. So this week I ended net profit. Some people are going to think this is hindsight. However, I've called out my bias every day in my Discord, as well as on my daily live streams. So you can go back and refer to that if you prefer. I'm going to cover why I was bullish and bearish on given days, and why some days I didn't have a bias, and that's okay. So to start, we're on Friday. One day ahead. So we're on Friday, June 21st. And the next trading day is Monday, June 24th. So the start of this week, I'm looking to determine my bias. This is what I would see. Normally, I would compare ES, but just for simplicity's sake, I will just look at this daily chart for now. So this is NASDAQ on the daily chart. So what do we see here? We talked about those four things that we were looking for. So we're looking at highs, for example, this high over here, and we're looking at imbalances. We have an imbalance here, and we have another imbalance here. So And then we also look at premium discount. So the last thing I looked at was premium discount. So here we are in a premium. We swept this premium array, which was this swing high, and we closed below. So this is the first signature of lower prices. So where could we potentially go lower? We could trade into this fair value gap, which we already did on Friday, or we could continue to a discount towards this fair value gap that has not been rebalanced yet. So a lot of people, and it's totally acceptable, could expect higher prices because these wicks respecting the daily fair value gap could potentially see another run for all-time high. This was a possible scenario for me on Monday, right? Monday is the hardest day to determine bias because you don't have the advantage of previous day's data. So Monday is hard. For me, I was leaning towards shorts. Why? Yes, we were respecting this daily fair value gap, but if you're looking at premium and discount, I would expect if price was going to take this high, it would want to come into a discount and then use those orders to go higher, right? It makes more sense to run this high from a discount because, well, smart money will inevitably make more money, right? There's orders down here that can be filled on the higher time frame, and willing sellers over here, willing buyers to those orders. So this is why price would like to come to a discount so we can make a run for the high. I could be wrong. Like I said, Monday was a soft bias, but I was expecting shorts. I was leaning a little bit more towards shorts. And if we didn't find a trade on Monday, that was fine. So what did Monday end up doing? We had a large expansion day, which I was not expecting. However, we ended up trading into this daily fair value gap, which was in a discount as we discussed. And we took out the sell size on lower time frame, and we tapped into this discount daily fair value gap. So from this moment on, I'm going to be bullish. The reason being is order flow has been bullish. We have a a premium array right here. If you notice, we have another fair value gap. So price went lower after sweeping this high into a discount. We tapped into this discount array. If you look very closely, we're trading at the upper quadrant of the daily fair value gap, almost closed above. So we could potentially see lower prices and then a reversal off this daily fair value gap, targeting this fair value gap over here, or potentially the high. So the drawn liquidity is higher. Now, alternatively, we could go lower into this fair value gap or even for these lows. That's possible. However, order flow has been bullish. And now that we came back into a discount of this range, I'm expecting higher prices. It's more likely to see price trade into this fair value gap or take out this high than for it to inverse this fair value gap, like disobey all of the order flow and then continue lower. So my bias was bullish for Tuesday. So that's the reason I took longs on Tuesday. We can see, behold, Tuesday had expansion higher towards the drawn liquidity, which was this fair value gap right here. So moving away from a discount into a premium now, respecting this daily fair value gap. And something else is we had an SMT right here. So we actually took previous day low, which is getting into the concept of daily closures. So if you remember that slide, I talked about the concepts I use, and so far I've shown them all: premium and discount, imbalances, highs and lows, daily closures, and SMT. So now we have an SMT at this daily closure, away from a discount. I'm expecting price to reach a premium array. Where is that premium array? It's this fair value gap right here. So this is why I was bullish on Tuesday, and because we have not reached the objective yet, I'm still going to be bullish on Wednesday, which is the next day. Let's see what Wednesday does. We had some upside expansion, but we kind of went lower. Does not mean I'm going to change my bias. So I'm still bullish because remember, this is my drawn liquidity. Everything else still applies. We swept this high, went into a discount bullish fair value gap. We had SMT, which is the cherry on top when it comes to bias, because SMT at a key level, if you've seen my SMT video, you'd already know this, is very high probability. So we can see upside expansion continuation from here. Even though we did not expand in Wednesday, I'm expecting the expansion to happen in Thursday now because the drawn liquidity has not been met. So what happens on Thursday? We meet the drawn liquidity, which is why I took longs on Thursday, and the objective was met. So now we're in a little bit of a kerfuffle, you could say. Now that we met this fair value gap, it's Friday. There's only one day left. It's possible we consolidate, or we take out these lows, or we can move higher and take out the high. Either or is honestly acceptable because we're on a premium. We could respect this fair value gap and go lower, or we could just keep running for the high, playing off this original idea. So it's kind of 50-50, which is why I did not have a clear bias. As I mentioned in my Discord server, I did not have a clear bias on Friday, which was today, which is today's trading day. So it makes sense to not have a clear bias. So if you had a bias saying I think this fair value gap is going to get respected and we take out this low, that's fine. If you said I think this SMT is going to continue sending us higher, that's also fine, right? So hopefully you can understand the bias for this week, why I had bias every single day, why Friday was not that clear for me, and hopefully you guys can use that. So okay, so the next thing we're going to cover is mistakes with bias. Okay, so here we are on the slide. Common mistakes with bias. I'm not going to read them all out, but you need to understand the big ones. For example, looking at too many things. So many people will look at highs, lows, order blocks, breaker blocks, premium discount, OTE, wicks, everything, and that's totally fine. But eventually, you're going to come to a point where you have too many factors combating each other, where some are going to say bullish, some are going to say bearish. Maybe you're going to be neutral. Maybe you'll never come to a conclusion. I like to focus on very simple things: premium discount, SMT at key levels, highs and lows, and imbalances. And that's pretty much all I use. And using those, that'll help me form the weekly candle profile. And I'll use that to determine my bias. Another thing is not trusting and sticking to bias. So a lot of people have a bias and they influenced by someone else. They hear someone say, I'm bullish. Maybe they switch. You got to pick your bias and stick to it. The psychology behind that will be discussed in another video, but the important part is sticking to your bias so you can then improve. Ignoring higher time frame, a lot of people will get stuck on the 5 minute, 15 minute, 1 minute, and they'll say, "Oh, we had a liquidity sweep, we could go higher." Yeah, sure, it's possible, but you always want to look at the higher time frame. Expecting to have a clear bias every day. Some days you're not gonna have bias. What you do about that is up to you. You just have to accept that it's not gonna come every day so clear. For example, in the example we went over earlier, for me, the best high probability day was this Tuesday. When we had this SMT, I was really expecting Wednesday and Thursday to expand higher into the drawn liquidity. Those were my best probability days. Those are the days I risked more and I made more because I was very confident in that bias because we had SMT, discount, imbalance, and drawn liquidity higher. I was very bullish and I upped my risk for that reason. And then some other common things is trading without a bias. In my opinion, that's not a good idea because you're kind of just gambling. You don't really know where price is likely to go. And then also switching your bias easily or not switching when it's supposed to be switched. A lot of people get too focused on their bias and are ignoring other things. And some people just keep switching on bullish, on bearish off of any PD array they see. Pick something, stick to it. If it gives you reason to switch, then switch. You got to focus on that. So with that being said, that's pretty much everything I want to cover in this video. Hopefully you guys can learn how to determine bias with high accuracy. It's going to take some time. It took me a lot of time. I was wrong many times. I was right many times for the wrong reasons. And you're just going to have to figure that out as you keep going. If you have any questions, ask me in my Discord. With that being said, see you guys next time. Peace.